Good day, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Cavill, and welcome to the new Sekiro stream. Now, I realize I've not streamed in a couple of weeks, and I'm hoping to change that today. We are diving back into Sekiro. We are heading to Fountainhead Palace. We're going to be exploring that area and some of the lore there, and hopefully reaching the Divine Dragon tonight. You might be wondering what I've been up to since I've been gone. Basically, I have started a new podcast, and I am very, very excited about it. I have a new Instagram, which I will add in the link below. And with that, we will be exploring a whole bunch of things that I'm really interested in. I'll be exploring books, movies, trivia, all that sort of stuff, because it's the sort of thing that I really, really enjoy. So I'm just going to shout that out. Feel free to like and subscribe to that channel, because you'll hear more. Other exciting news, the podcast can be found on Spotify, it can be found on Amazon Music, and it can be found on Apple Podcasts. So I'm kind of plugging it. There's 2 episodes to it, both of which can also be found on my YouTube channel, so like and subscribe to that as well. The first major topic that I discuss in that series is Darth Jar Jar, and it's a thing that I really, really quite enjoy. It's a fun theory. I have my own take on it, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I'm very much would like all your support. I know there's a couple of people out there who try and watch everything that I do, so hopefully I will see you there as well. So the next podcast I'll be producing will come out on Saturday, and I will be exploring a controversial take that Severus Snape is the greatest wizard in the wizarding world. So, without further ado, we are going to jump back into Sekiro, and we should start exploring Fountainhead Palace. So, let's jump straight in. Now, I don't have much memory of this place. It has been quite a few years since I've played through it. Oh, sorry. I just realized that my Stream Deck is not working the way that it should, so let me just transfer over to that now, and we'll jump straight in. So, here we are, Fountainhead Palace, otherwise known as the Heavens of the Sekiro, the Ashina estate. As you can see, the waters of Fountainhead flow down into the Ashina Valley below. They collate in areas like Mibu Village, and that's where some of the madness from that place is. So what we're going to do is we're just going to head down there. We're going to slowly work our way through these buildings here, and eventually we're going to get to a statue over there. Our goal is to get to those 5 pillars up in the distance. That is where the Divine Dragon dwells. It's the reason why we are here. We're here to collect the gracious gift of tears. So let's head down there. If I can, there is one pretty exciting mechanic that I want to try and achieve with this, but let's get down here to start. So as you can see, Fountainhead is in disrepair, and it does have a lot to do with the dragon heritage. So we're just going to sneak through here, and you have these guys here. Now, they are kind of a joke enemy, but they do have quite an interesting attack. They actually make you an old man. And you can do this mechanic and literally eat your youth back, which is kind of cool. So we'll grab that stuff. We'll slowly work our way across. So there's one guy over there, and there's another guy hiding behind the frame over that side. So let's sneak our way through. Grab him. Like I said, we're just going to take it slow. We're going to work our way through this area. We'll do that. Now we do want to collect some of the materials. They do come in very handy for assorted upgrades. Getting slight stoppages with my camera. Alright, so just going to keep working our way through. What we want to do is we want to get up to here now and work our way up. So this is going to be primarily a stealth mission. The goal is to work our way through without eliciting too many people noticing us. So we'll work our way through up here. Collect all of the equipment, the drops that we're going to get. So this is a really fascinating area. As you can see, a lot of the beings here are not exactly human. So we'll just grab him. They're not just warriors, they are scholars as well, as you can see by the way that they're dancing. So I'm just going to hang down here. Continue working our way down. Got somebody behind us. Yes, we do. Fortunately, it's all just timing with these guys, so just going to slowly work our way through. There is a guy here. Get him. Get the items behind here as well. So there's lots of spirit-related stuff in here, lots of balloons. It is the realm of essentially heaven in this zone. So we're just going to get our way up. Work our way through. So what we're going to do is just going to equip the shuriken, because there are some dogs in the section and we don't really want to be messing with them too much if we can help it. They can be a little bit annoying. So we're just going to take our way around. A lot of the items that are in the waters aren't really that important to get, so we'll just jump past them and get them for the sake of completion, but I hit the wrong button. Oh, it's a quick way of getting very dead very quick. Apparently I can't block to save myself. There we go. Like I said, we're just going to take it slow. Collect what we can collect. Because there is a statue just over there. So we'll stealth our way through. that's a wasted heal, but that's okay. There we go. I wanted to do that instead. And that's why we wanted to equip the shuriken. They are one-hit kills. So we'll just slowly work our way through, and we should have a statue right here. So there are a few things we need to explore in this particular zone. There's a couple of hidden pathways. So we'll rest up here, and we'll continue moving through. Fortunately, there's lots of places to hide in these zones, which gives us easy access to extra things. Oh, and we have a old servant here, so we'll have a chat. So we just learnt a fairly useful bit of information about the palace nobles. They are the old crotchety sort of guys with the multiple arms. We've learnt that they have been corrupted. We've learnt that they have a lust for youth, and they literally tear the essence from us, from Sekiro, in order to regain their vitality. And if I were to trigger that, you would see just how quick and agile they become. They stop just sinuously moving around. So we're just going to keep moving. And as she said, the courtyard is full of them. So if you peer out over here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why we're going to use these dividers here, just to prevent that line of sight. So what we want to see is there's a dude there on the bridge. There is another one just around there, and there's 2 in that section through there. So we need to get the one on the bridge first before we get the one over here, and then we should be right to deal with the ones inside that building over there. So we'll wait until this guy turns around, and we'll sprint over there. We'll get the one-hit kill. There we are. Straight to stealth mode again. Okay. Just going to clear out those sections. Now, if I remember correctly, can we open this? No, we can't. I did not remember correctly. So we'll continue working our way through. So we've got those 2 dealt with. There are more in that building over there as well, but we do need to work our way across to that one there. You can hear him playing his flute here. So he's just tucked around the corner there. And there's a dude sitting right there. We want to get the noble first, otherwise he will sap all of our life, and then the samurai warrior will take advantage of that. So we're just going to sprint around the side, do that, because this guy, much easier to deal with. There we go. And now we'll deal with this guy here. Oh. Oh. There we go. Grab some equipment. As you can see, these guys are full of high-end upgrade materials. So the reason we needed to access this is I'm pretty sure there's a swimming section over here. No, it does not. That's okay. But it is full of upgrade material. Alright, now that we've got that section sorted, we are going to continue moving over here. Now, there's a couple of guys, I believe, that walk around this section. So what we want to do is we want to use this to get into the rafters. Pretty sure there's a guy over here we need to get. And then we want to go straight back up. If we can. Hello? Where are we? We don't really want to be visible here. Should be able to. Okay, just have to ambush him then. Not exactly how I plan to do that. If I can get another one of these stealth kills, it'll be fun. Nope. Oh, no you don't. Yep, this is not exactly how I planned things to go. That's okay though. There we are. Okay, that worked out a little bit better than I hoped. Normally, you can just work your way back up into the section up here. Oh, apparently you can. I was just doing it wrong. Super fun. Alright, so we've cleared out that section there. Grab this item here. Grave wax is really important for a lot of endgame upgrades. So now that we've got that sorted, what we want to do is deal with one of the most frustrating sequences in this area. So, just across the way, there are a spear guy and one of the palace nobles. So we want to rush them as fast as possible, and we want to try and get as close as we can without them seeing us. Because much like most sequences, if the noble saps our life force, the spear guy will make it very, very easy for us to die. So we're just going to back up a little bit. We're going to sprint, jump over that, kill both of them, and keep moving. Alright, come on, buddy. Alright, that worked out pretty well. Nope, 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 nope. Oh no! I don't think I've ever seen this happen before. Alright, so we are now enfeebled, but there is a statue right here which should heal us up. I don't think I've ever been enfeebled and not managed to get my life force back. That's truly, truly a bizarre sequence of events. Oh, there we are. Alright. We'll heal up. I just got to remember if there's anything worth getting in that particular room there. can't think of if there is. But if you look at this guy here who sapped our life, you can see he's glowing now. And he looks like he's been rejuvenated. Alright, so what we'll do is we will heal up here. And then we're going to go and fight a mini-boss. With whom... Oh, just wasting my heals. There is an easy way of defeating him. He is around this side here. So what we'll do... Oh, frames. Frames, please. Now we're on the rooftops. You can see those guys there. But in this section just over here... You can see there's a couple of guys. He still hasn't seen me for some reason. We'll work our way up and around. Again, we just want to take it nice and slow. This part of the game, stealth is more rewarded. Ow. There we go. So, earlier on in the game, we defeated the Blazing Bull. And when it died, it came here. And this is the divine version of it. So, we're just going to stay out of sight. Because I'm going to try to show you a secret for this particular boss. There is a way of getting a one-hit kill on it. I just need to follow its patterns to understand which way it's turning. Okay. Just because ideally I want to be able to show this off. So I think he turns to the left. And on the other side, I think he turns to the left as well. And he turns to the right. Okay, so what we need to do here is drop down behind him, sneak behind him, and as soon as he starts to turn, trigger the firecrackers. There we are. And what you can do now is a one-hit defeat. Perfection. And it gives us a prayer bead. And a beast karma. So a latent skill that increases the maximum number of spirit emblems that can be held. The spirit emblems are manifestations of regret. Those regretful of their vile actions are haunted by many spirit emblems. Perhaps this innocent beast was burdened with the karma of man. Inheriting the karma of those they've killed is also part of being a shinobi. So, that is the quick and easy way of defeating that boss, and it just saved us about 5 minutes of gameplay. It's also really, really cool to do that the developers thought of that. So now we just need to work our way back across here to another fairly cinematic moment. So we're just going to run across this way. We'll heal up. And we'll get to witness another cinematic moment. Okay, so this bridge leads us over to the second part of Fountainhead Palace. You could go under, but the game is telling us that we should probably go over. So if we try that, the giant carp of the lake leaps across and prevents our passage. So what we want to do now is we want to grapple over to that side there and slowly work our way through this section. There is a mini-boss who sits on the end of the Sekiro tree, just over there. He hits you with lightning the moment you get into the water. So ideally we're going to want to not stay around that particular section unless we want to die really quickly, which again, not a thing that we're really trying to do today. So what we're going to do is we're going to grapple across there. I believe there's a statue just over this side here. So we'll grab that and then we'll sneak our way through the section here. This section here is essentially done at this point. I believe there's one area that I might need to return to, so I think it's got a prayer bead. But for the time being, we're just going to keep moving forward. We will go back and venture there before we get to the, what's it called? The Divine Dragon at the end. So again, just primarily maining stealth, as these guys tend to hurt if we get too close. And that's not an angle or direction we want to be attacking them from. This entire sequence of the game is really designed for us to stealth our way through. So we'll leap back over here. We'll work our way around. Like I said, a lot of these enemies much easier to take down through just stealth. Quick, easy, efficient. Okay, as you can see, lots of the bridges are broken in this area. It really speaks to the decay of the area. And there is a Japanese belief in the wonder of something that's broken down, because it meant once upon a time it was a thing of beauty. And the name of that eludes me at the moment. So we're just going to stealth our way through. No, you don't. No, you don't. Straight to stealth again. And then we're going to work our way through this sequence here. Now, there is another mini-boss just over the other side there. I'm not entirely sure if I want to spend time defeating it or not. This isn't a 100% completion run. Alright, so deal with these two guys here. Nope. Oh, he's kicking a soccer ball at me. Please stop. And yes, you can parry them as well. Ow. Fortunately, they're not that strong, so we can get away with it that way. So we'll grab that, and we'll work our way across here. So the next sequence, if I remember correctly, we need to get up that section there. But we also need to work our way through this section here. So we're, again, just going to stealth our way through. We don't really want to be picking fights we don't want to, because a lot of these guys are pretty annoying. Yep. Come on, buddy. Come on. Up you jump. Okay. I don't think he can make it. Alright, come on. I'll make it a bit easier for you. There we go. We'll deal with that guy over there on this side. And then we'll loop our way down to the bottom. Or apparently we'll do that now. Right. we really don't. Oh. Come on, buddy. Over here. Here we go. Now, one thing you might notice about these particular enemies is that they mimic the attack style of Genichiro. There's that leaping, bouncing attack that he does. These guys also do it. It's actually really, really interesting. So we'll get up here and deal with this guy, and then we'll go down and deal with the platform guys. Now, ideally, we want to get the guy who's bouncing the football first, and then we'll deal with the guy sitting down without pulling aggro from the guys on the neighboring platform. But what we can do for that is, again, stealth our way through. And that's another reason why I've pulled aggro from that guy and he's kicking the football at me now. Yeah, okay, buddy. He's up. Just wait for him to stop with the aggro and then we'll work our way up. And he's clearly locked onto us. So we're just going to keep our stealth for a minute. And apparently pull aggro from everybody in this area. That's right. Ah, crap. Alright, YOLO. No, you don't. Oh boy. Ouch. Ouch. Okay, please stop. Please stop. Alright, you're the more dangerous one of. There we go. Oh boy. Ouch. Ah, goddamn. I mistimed it. Alright, come on, buddy. Nope. That's a sweet. There we go. YOLO! Yikes, that was a close one. Kind of burned our way through half our resources. But we made it, we got through it all, and guess what? There are no rewards in this section. So we're just going to have to keep working our way through. Nope, old mate saw me. Let's deal with this guy first. There we go. Alright, let's keep moving. So our goal is this building over here, which leads us to the second sequence of Fountainhead. But we're not going to do that straight away. There's a couple of reasons for it. One, we can't actually open the door there. And two, we need to go through an underwater sequence to do that. But before we do that at all, we need to work our way down and defeat the mini-boss over there. So we're going to keep moving our way through. As you can see, the door is here, but it does not open from this side. And who'd I pull aggro from? think there's an archer down here that I pulled aggro from. Yep, there he is. Oh boy. Alright. Should be fine. Alright. Archer boy technically hasn't seen me, even though he's... Oh no, he saw me. Alright. Oh. That was quick. Okay, so where are we? Oh, I got 5,000 sen. That's really quite cool. I can get as much sen as I need. Alright. Okay, so there is a sculptor statue over there. I do not really want to deal with these 5 guys here. So I'm just going to literally sprint to get there. Yep, okay guys, yep. Let's not deal with that. I don't want to lose my sen at all. Rest. Oh boy, that was close. Alright, that resets all of them. I really don't want to deal with them. This guy over here is the guy I want to deal with. And as you can see, you can't actually stealth him. He's already facing us. So this is going to be a YOLO sprint. The quickest and easiest way of defeating this particular mini-boss is getting into his face as fast as possible, and then the fight's over pretty quick after that. But if you keep your range, he can hurt, and he can hurt pretty bad. So let's sprint over there and deal with this guy. Yeah. Nope. Oh boy, that was close. Yep. Ow! No. Alright. And that's what I was afraid of. Let's try that again. I do not want to lose sen. At all. If I can help it. Okay. Yeah, let's try that again. I'm a professional. Ow. Asshole. Ow! Yep, and that's why. Like I said, this guy, lethal from a range. So let's do that. Problem solved. We've got another Prebby. Okay. Whew. Yeah, I kind of thought that was going to happen. Not going to lie. Alright, so the next part of our goal is to get to this section here. But as you can see, you cannot work your way from the main building here to the side. You cannot make the jump across. It's just not a thing you can do. And we ideally want to get down here at some point, but we can't do that straight away. The way you do it is, well, the game is showing you. You defeat this platform here, you grind your way through, you try and work your way through, and then you deal with this guy on the edge here. Now, this is why. The game tells you the direction you need to go, and the direction is over there. So you can see there's some submerged buildings over there. All that stuff is really, really important. And as you can see here, the tapestries that are flowing out of that building there is pointing you in the direction you need to go. Also, the NPC from earlier has found their way to the rooftop over here. So what we want to do is drop down. I'm pretty sure that's a bulging coin purse. We'll swim across there, we'll have a chat with her, and then what will happen is we will head this direction over here because there's a cave. So we'll drop down, grab this. Oh, I was right. And we'll jump over here. Now, there is a whole diving sequence, and you can explore this whole area. There's nothing really that important unless you're doing like a 100% run. That's worth doing. We'll head up here and we'll have a chat with her. And then we'll head underneath and we'll do the next stealth sequence. Like I said, this particular map is filled with stealth sequences. Hello. What are you going to tell me today? Why, yes, I am. Yep, so what the old servant is telling us is that there is a back passage through there, and it's where the great carp sleeps. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop back into the water, head through this building here, and we're going to watch a brief cinematic, and then we're going to follow the great carp. So we'll dive in. There it is. And that's the direction the game is telling us to go. As you can see here, even the coloring of the wood is a gentle suggestion of the direction you're supposed to be heading. It's kind of like signposts along the path. So we'll grab this item here. More upgrade mats. There's a treasure carp over there, and I'm pretty sure there's some upgrade materials up there, but I don't think they're that necessary at this point. So as you can see, the carp has left a trail of orange and white wood that leads all the way down through there. And the game is telling us that that's where we need to go. Just going to check over here, I think. Yeah, there's a bunch of items over here. So I'll pick these up. So treasure carp scales are useful for two particular merchants in the game. One merchant we met at Harato Estate in the first episode, and the second one is actually in an upper cave, essentially, on this map here. And both of them have kind of a rivalry, and you can make a couple of choices on how you want to handle a certain situation. And you use treasure carp scales to purchase items from them. So we'll grab these 3 treasure carp scales. So this next sequence is entirely a stealth section. So you follow the path of the carp, which burrowed its way through here, and you enter this sequence. So our goal is all the way over there, and the treasure carp is there, and it senses when we're present, so we need to maintain as much stealth as possible in this sequence. And this is what these buildings are for, these pathways. As you can see, the lens effect has happened on the screen. That means we're currently in stealth, and the carp shouldn't be able to see us. And what it does is it starts doing laps, and you can see through the grills where it is. So we need to work our way from this section here all the way down and around that section there. So we'll let it go past, and then we'll quickly dart across to that section over here. We can come back to this section eventually. But again, we just want to work our way up through here. And we want to work our way over to that section there. Oop. And that building over there is our target. So what we'll do is we'll stealth our way over here to this section here. And as you can see, the carp knows something is here because its zone that it's patrolling is actually getting narrower and narrower. So as you can see, it's currently orbiting below us. What we want to do next is that hole in the building there is our next destination. So after it does its next lap, we're going to do a mad rush to get over to that opening. We'll give it a minute. Alright, we'll go. Oh. And it just saw me. And that's what happens. It tries to attack you. But now we're here. We can simply work our way across. And it's trying to get through the building. I don't think it can. I've never waited long enough to find out though. And then you can just head up here. And we've made our way through the stealth section. And this is the back path to the palace estate. So that's our destination over there. And then we're not too far from where the divine dragon exists. So we'll work our way up here. Through all the sakura blossoms. Like so. We'll save it here. So this next sequence, we want to kill all of the nobles in this area. They're all very, very hungry and they're currently devouring the previous inhabitants of this particular area. So we'll handle that. We'll open the front door and then we will... I'm pretty sure there's gourd seed over here too. Save again and we'll get to see a second sequence of events. So we'll just stealth our way through and clean up these guys. Okay, so if you have a look at the storytelling that it's showing us here, you can see the corruption of all the nobles. The nobles were eating one another. That's how hungry they were for getting any sort of life. Again, this touches on that idea of immortality within the series. The palace nobles are so consumed by the corruption of the Fountainhead waters that they're trying to find life by eating the life out of literally anything that they come across, including one another. And in this insane degree of just pure avarice, a pure hunger for becoming immortal, they've turned on one another. So what we'll do is we'll grab all of these upgrades, more sen. And you can see here, there's another doorway here, and I'm pretty sure this is a gourd seed. Another upgrade material. Yes, I was right. Haha. I don't think I'm going to get the 10th one, though. I can't remember where it is. But what we'll do now, that we've killed the remainder of the nobles, is we're going to open this door here. Covered in the ichor of the fallen palace nobles. And now we've opened up a doorway, clearly, for the NPC that we were talking to earlier in the game. So if we go over here and rest, what happens is they don't come back. Instead, the old lady is here. She literally dies of grief. And that is the end of that NPC story. So now we have access to all of this section here, and we can finally access this part over here through that branch there. But to get to there, you need to jump onto the roof. So now that we've got access to that, we should be able to grapple up onto the roof. So we'll head through here, we'll head up. I'm pretty sure there's another sculptor statue over this side too. No, there isn't. But what you can do now is you can get onto the roof of the main palace, And then you got two choices. Over this side here, you've got a cave, which is just there, which leads us through to a merchant, which we will go and have a chat with. And if you go over this way, you can access this tree branch here. And this gives us access to this entire section over here. So we'll do that. Apparently we won't. Apparently I will jump from a great height and die. Alright, let's see. Oh, I gotta do that, don't I? So I gotta jump over here. And now there's a Shichiman warrior down here. So Shichiman is basically a warrior of death. They use terror to kill. And there's actually a pretty interesting way that you can defeat them. Now, there's an attack that I purchased very early in the game during the first sequence through Ashina Castle called the Anti-Air Deathblow. So basically, the Anti-Air Deathblow works by triggering the Deathblow effect on any enemy which leaves the ground. The Shichiman warrior is one of the few enemies in the game that once they are in midair can actually be deathblowed out of it. And that's interesting for a mini-boss of all things. Most mini-bosses you can't actually do that with. Most bosses you can't do that with, but the Shichiman warrior is one of them that you can. For the purposes of this particular playthrough, I'm probably not going to kill it. But I probably will record it at some point and post it up on this channel here so you can see what happens. But our goal at the moment is getting down over onto this rooftop here. Like so. Now, I'm not sure who targeted me. Oh, it's that guy up there. Right. Let's heal up and get over and deal with that guy. Ow. And that's a thrust attack. Let's heal up. Oh, not sure how that didn't hit me. Alright. I think there's a couple more guys over that side there. Where are you? Okay, so there's an old noble down there that you can actually talk to, so we are going to head down there and have a chat. And apparently not drop to my death, which is also kind of useful. Alright, so this old noble, he is the caretaker of the giant carp. There's a bit of a side quest that you can do with this particular guy. You can give bait to the giant carp. I don't think I actually have any on me. I think you can use 3 of them. Let's have a quick look and see if I've picked up any at all. The survey says I have 10 treasure carp scales. I'm not seeing any. No, apparently I do not have any of the bait that you can feed it. That's okay though, we'll have a quick chat with this guy. Okay, so the bell over there you can ring and it summons the carp, and with the bait you can feed the carp and it gives you items, and this guy gives you items. There is a special type of bait that you can get which kills the carp, and it gives you a unique item which again gives you something else special. Now For the purposes of this playthrough, it's not going to be a thing that I'm going to be doing. It's not really the focus of this playthrough. It's not 100%er, but that's just something interesting that you can actually do in this playthrough. So if I was to go over here and ring it, the carp arrives from the depths. But because I have no bait, I have no reason to talk to it. So what we'll do is we will head back to the palace grounds. What we're going to do is we're going to head over to the other side and talk to the other jar man. So what we'll do is we'll head through here again. We'll head back onto the roof. And we're going to head to the right. And that cave through there is where we want to go. So, remember how to do this. I think you have to leap over this way. And then I'm pretty sure there's a grapple that you can go. Yep, just here. Yep. And now this area is filled with lizards, so just work your way through. And apparently dodge all of them. Okay, so over this way here is the pot guy. So we'll just head back over here. We'll grab... Oh, the pot guy's over here. Moshi mosh to you too. Okay, we'll wait here and rest. And we'll have a chat to this guy. So, Koremori is the noble that lives in this pot. There is another one in Hirata Estate who also purchases things with scales. They have a bit of a rivalry, like I mentioned before. Koremori wants to kill the divine treasure carp, and he can actually give you access to an item that does that. So he also has two the lapis lazuli is the penultimate upgrade material. He allows you to upgrade 4 items to max. Over the course of a single playthrough, you don't actually get enough lapis lazuli to maximize all of the level ups for the items, and I don't really need any more dragon's blood droplets at this point in time, as I've been kind of fortunate that I have not triggered the dragon rot a lot. After you talk with this guy, he can give you access to the tainted bait, which can kill the giant carp. And normally it's not advised to use it straight away, as you need to use a couple of bits of bait to get other rewards from the giant carp. Alright, so that's the pot noble there. And I'm pretty sure if I head over this way, this is how you get access to the top of this building over here. But that's okay, we don't need to do that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to jump back, and we're going to start heading our way up the path to defeat the divine dragon. And then after that, we'll return to Ashina Castle and notice the change. But before we do that at all, we are going to travel back to Kuro's room and use the gourd seed that we picked up. Took me a second there to remember. I hope my audio is coming through okay. Alright. Emma is up here. No? Where's Emma? It's the dilapidated hut. I think she might be. I almost forgot that there's extra dialogue with that particular sequence. Alright. So what we'll do now is we will hug the wall, because it needs a hug. We might spend some of our sen, or we might hold some sen, or we might just have a chat with Emma, who I think is still here. Yes. Oh, that's right. I don't think I ever returned to these guys after defeating our father. So let's see if there's any new dialogue. Okay, so we'll give the gourd seed, get another extra heal. I don't think there's any more dialogue. No, there's not. I think the sculptor's got a little bit of dialogue as well. So I'll have a chat with him. So if you remember correctly, in the previous cycle with Lady Tomoe and Lord Takeru, the sculptor was the Sekiro of that particular era, and he failed to achieve the victory that they needed. So let's see if I've got any new upgrades. I do not. Let's see if I'm going to spend some sen to get some upgrades here. Looks like we've got a bunch of upgrades and a bunch of upgrade materials. Looks like I can afford 2 of them in any particular sequence. Now, one of the upgrades that we want is, I think it's this one down here. So we'll grab the spring-loaded flame vent, which will come in handy in the next sequence. There are 2 bosses, if I remember correctly, that it'll be useful with. We need the loaded umbrella magnet. Now, the Phoenix Lilac umbrella is extremely useful against Shichiman warriors. It's also extremely useful against the Headless warriors, which I've not fought in this particular playthrough. Let's have a look here. So as you can see, we can only really afford the double divine abduction at this point as well. And let's have a look here. So the Suzaku's Lotus Umbrella is an extremely useful upgrade. It's an upgrade that I use for a particular boss that's coming up. Looks like I got more than enough required materials for it. Unfortunately, I do need to get the Okinaga's flame vent first. So I just need to remember how to get the pine resin ember again. I probably do that off stream just to farm up the material for it. And then what we'll do is we'll grab the Lotus Umbrella for a boss in the probably last stream for this particular game. Let's have a look here. I don't think there's any other upgrades I need from this particular sequence, so I need the Phoenix Lilac Umbrella, and I need the Suzaku's Lotus Umbrella. That's it. They're the 2 primary things that I'm chasing. So we'll grab the Double Divine Abduction, spend a bit of sen. We will grab the Mountain Echo, and we will have to farm a few upgrade materials for this particular sequence, so we can do that later, or I will probably do it off stream just to save you guys doing that, unless you just want to hear me yap about random stuff while I'm farming materials. So spend a bit of sen. We have got a few upgrades. We'll see if the sculptor's got any extra dialogue. He does not. The reason why we want to exhaust most of this guy's dialogue at this point is because after we defeat the Divine Dragon, we have another state change for the game. So, as I've described before, the game basically has 3 different acts. The first act is the arrival at Ashina Castle and the defeat of Lord Genichiro, and that shifts it from the early morning to the middle of the morning. The second sequence involves you traveling to defeat the Headless Monk, not the Headless Monk, the Corrupted Monk, and the Guardian Ape. And after you defeat both of those, it triggers the sequence to fighting Great Shinobi Owl. So you defeat those 2 bosses, the game changes from the middle of the morning to midday. Your defeat of Great Shinobi Owl happens in the middle of the day. After that, it transitions to the early afternoon, which is the sequence we're in now, which allows us to travel to Fountainhead. Then after that, after the defeat of the Divine Dragon, the entire state changes again to the evening, which allows you to see Ashina Castle in all different times of day, which is really, really cool. So what I'm going to do now is we'll jump back into Fountainhead. You will watch me struggle and curse my way up through the stairwell, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fight the Divine Dragon. We're going to learn a little bit about Tomoe, and then we're going to get the Dragon Tears, which are a vitally important element of every ending in the game. So you've got the Immortal Severance ending, which is just the default ending, which is if you don't do any of the side quests or talk to any of the NPCs, you by default get that ending. The second ending, which is the one in which Sekiro sacrifices himself. It's why you had to go get the Everblossom branch. And then you got the third option, which is the Dragon Purification, which is the one that I've gone through, where you talk with the Divine Child of Rejuvenation. You slay both of the snakes, you get their viscera, you feed them to her. She reads through the Holy Tome and allows the Dragon Purification ending to take place, which is the one that we're working on for this particular playthrough. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head back to Fountainhead. I'm going to do the rush up the stairwell, and then we're going to fight the Divine Dragon. After that, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to finish the stream or if I will transition across and we will get to see the beginning sequence of the fall of Ashina Castle, which, you know, spoilers ahead, but the game is 6 years old. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll head back to this statue, we'll head back to Fountainhead, and we'll begin the last part of the Fountainhead Palace sequence. Okay, so we are heading to the palace grounds, and we're going to be heading up the stairwell. This is probably my least favorite sequence of the game, because of, it's not really the, well, it is the enemies, their spacing, and the fact that they're all ranged. So it's basically a gauntlet rush the whole way up. As you can see, we are very, very close to the monoliths, the menhirs, I guess, where the Divine Dragon dwells. And as you can see there is a path with all the Inari gates that leads all the way up to our destination, which is that sakura tree at the very corner over there. So we'll work our way across there, we'll vault our way up, and then we'll work our way up that stairwell. Now, I haven't fought the Divine Dragon in a while. This is the part where I oversell the difficulty of the particular boss, and then subsequently defeat it first try. Not going to say that's actually going to happen, but every other boss that I've managed to fight in this particular playthrough, well, we've got the video footage. Alright, so up we go. Grapple our way up to the bottom of the stairwell. And like I said, I do not particularly like this particular sequence of the game. It's just personal preference. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, it's just not my particular favorite. So what we're going to do is we're just going to sprint up here, the lightning from the Divine Dragon. And you got these guys. Nope, nope, nope. Yeah, nope. Nope. Usually I avoid this entire sequence and I sprint the whole way. Yep, and that's why. Please, no, ow! Oh, god damn it. It is very satisfying though to take it out on them. Okay. I think the other guy fell off the side. Alright, so there's a statue up here, which leads us to the boss fight. So we'll go up here, we'll rest up, get our heals back, and we'll go and fight the Divine Dragon. And pray that I remember how to defeat him. Yeah. Okay, so more lightning's coming, and we're at the center of all of the monoliths. And on the inside here, we have Lady Tomoe. Now, I have an interesting theory about this, and it's probably going to be something I will discuss in one of my podcasts eventually. Basically, there's this idea that Tomoe was the boss that you were supposed to fight in this particular sequence coming up. Tomoe is mentioned quite a few times, both in dialogue by NPCs. Genichiro describes himself as the disciple of Tomoe, and in the third phase of the first fight with, or the second fight with Genichiro, he is the disciple of Tomoe, and he can use the lightning, which heavily implies that he has come to this place and he's learnt the ways of Tomoe. My theory, and it's a theory I'm going to discuss at length in a future podcast. Subscribe to the podcast, which I will add in the description below, along with my Instagram. My idea is that Dragon Rot was supposed to be a much bigger element of the game. It was meant to affect and infect a whole bunch of people, and Tomoe was going to be one of those figures that was consumed by the Dragon Rot. Now, the reason I say this is I'm referring to the enemy of Millennia from Elden Ring. Definitely one of the most famous FromSoft difficult bosses. And the fact that she is subsumed by the Scarlet Rot. And now, my theory for this particular sequence is that Tomoe was the original design for the Millennia fight, because of nearly every single boss in Elden Ring. Millennia has the closest moveset to a Sekiro boss. And the whole timing, the pacing of the fight, the waterfowl dance, all of it screams of a Sekiro boss fight. And there's videos out there, and it's a bit of a meme, of people transplanting Millennia into Sekiro and using the Sekiro mechanics of the parries and the deflects and all that sort of stuff on that particular boss, and it all fits perfectly. So my theory is that Tomoe was originally the original Millennia, and what they did is they basically used the asset to add Millennia into Elden Ring, because it was cut content. I mean, Elden Ring is filled with cut content from Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Sekiro. If you know what you're looking at, I mean, I've played these games for hundreds of hours, and you can kind of see where they've just gone, hey, so we've already spent money to create this asset, why don't we just put it into a game? And that's what happened with Elden Ring, I think. Not to say that Elden Ring isn't a wonderful game on its own, and probably a future playthrough for some description. I may even be able to defeat Mog and get to the DLC at one point, but that's a story for a different time. Essentially, yeah, so that's my theory. My theory is that instead of the Divine Dragon, now don't get me wrong, I think the Divine Dragon was part of this fight originally, but I think that based on the Millennia moveset, this next fight sequence was going to be Tomoe. You had to defeat Tomoe in order to get to the Divine Dragon to get the Gracious Gift of Tears. That's my theory. And just purely based on the attack patterns of Millennia is what makes me think that. So, what's going to happen now is we're going to have a chat with Tomoe, or rather realize that she's there resting against the rock, and we're going to get transported to effectively the Divine Realm of the Divine Realm and face the Divine Dragon. Now, the Divine Dragon is divine, which means you can't kill it. But we're not trying to kill it, we're just trying to get its tears, because the tears are super important for the next sequence. So we'll do this. I will try not to die. Hopefully the RNG will be with me. I'm not going to need any prosthetic tools. I'm not going to need the gourd. And I need to remember this is not one of my no-heal runs. Alright, let's do this. So we pray with Tomoe. Oh, and I will be doing a podcast at some point about all of the themes in Sekiro and the Japanese influences associated with it. Just going to throw that in there. And for reference, I have not fought these bosses since about June 2024. Let's try not to get poisoned. That'll be super fun. Now, this boss fight follows the same pattern that many boss fights have in, like, Bloodborne. This particular fight is pretty common. Okay. Okay, is that tree still active? Yes, it is. Am I going to get close enough to get a death blow? No, I'm not. Let's not get poisoned. That'll be super awesome. Oh, that was close. That was close. Please move, please move. Alright, let's get up here. You can see that they're starting to change color, which is super important for us. Alright, we're almost done with the sequence. This should do it. No, one more. Ow. Don't hit me with your stick. Do I have to do one of those dive attacks again? I think I do. Yeah. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Alright. This follows the FromSoft idea of the multiple enemy boss fight. The emissary boss fight, I think it is, from Bloodborne. Right, so now we'll get the second sequence, which I believe is the Divine Dragon. So the Divine Dragon is all about reflecting the lightning. Fun fact, the gigantic sword that the dragon holds, the blades of wind that it attacks you with, you can actually parry them too. As I've said in many of my streams, a lot of the attacks in the game can just be parried outright. Or at least deflected. And here is phase 2. As you can see, the Divine Dragon follows the same motif of one-armed enemies throughout the game, from the Long Shadows to the Sculptor to Sekiro himself. Yeah. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Yeah, let's go up here. Oh. Alright. Now, this is what we want to do over here. There we go. Now we want to keep moving. We want to do this. Just keep moving. Yep. That's all over the other end there. Alright, so we want to sprint back and we want to avoid all of the sweeps that it does. That's a sweep. And again. And we want to do this. And we want to keep moving. Okay. Get blown back. We're almost there. Just want to keep our distance again for this sequence. Yep, nope. You can actually deflect those attacks. Yep. Oh. Yep. Now there is kind of a mimic effect with a boss fight coming up. I've got a video of it on my channel. It's the Ishin. Oh. Ow. Whoa. Nope. 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 Ow. That hit double damage because I was too close. Alright. Nope. Here we go. There we go. And that's it. The boss fight is done. Really, really quite simple. Just gotta keep doing it. But again, you can't actually kill this boss, but you don't have to. That's not the idea behind it. So, because we have the Mortal Blade, the Gracious Gift of Tears, we can head up this pathway here and obtain them. And that's it. Yes, that's true. You can just grapple between them. And that's it. The boss fight is finished. I did it first try. Not too bad, really. Actually worked out pretty well. So that is Fountainhead Palace from beginning to end. And we've received the memory of the Divine Dragon. The battle memory of an extraordinary foe, lingering in the mind of the wolf. Commune with a sculptor's idol and confront memories of battle to permanently increase attack power. The Divine Dragon, ancient deity of the Everblossom. And now we have the most important item in the game that you have to get before the transition to the next sequence, which we have now gotten to. Divine Dragon's Tears. Tears received from the Divine Dragon. The gracious gift of tears can only be granted by the Mortal Blade. The body of the Divine Dragon is eternal, and its tears, once shed, will maintain their form and moisture in perpetuity. Should one of the dragon's heritage partake in the dragon's tears, immortal severance will be reified. So essentially what that means is that you can get healed and severed from immortality, but the cost is your life. But when combined with one of the 2 items that you can get for each particular ending, the Ever Blossom and the... I have totally forgotten the name of it. Let me have a quick check. The item, which was called the Frozen Tears from the Divine Child of Rejuvenation, is what gives you access to the Dragon Purification ending. So you've got the Aromatic Flower, the Divine Dragon Tears, and the Frozen Tears, and each of those items gives you a different ending. So what we're going to do now is we are going to rest at the Sculptor's Idol. We'll have a chat with Emma, and then, because I achieved what I set out to do for today's stream, which was the defeat of the Divine Dragon and the exploration of Fountainhead, which we may return to before the end of the game, we'll find out why Emma is sad. Because I think I do not want to do the next sequence of the game any sort of injustice is the word I'm using. I want to use because the entire sequence of the invasion of the Ministry onto the Ashina clan's lands is spectacular. It's cinematic, essentially, and it deserves to have a full stream devoted to it. So I'll cover this a bit in a minute, but essentially the game that I'm playing after this is Stellar Blade, a very, very famous, for a whole variety of different reasons, action RPG. Very much in the same vein as the Dark Souls games. And the same sort of idea of fighting big bosses and learning mystery lore and all that sort of stuff, with a protagonist which is famous, like I said, for a whole bunch of different reasons. My goal was to start Stellar Blade next Saturday, but I think that next Saturday will be hopefully the last episode of this particular playthrough, and then in a week's time on Wednesday I will start the Stellar Blade playthrough. So I will use the Sculptor's Idol. We will use the memory of the Divine Dragon to get a little bit of extra lore. We will have a chat with Emma, and we will finish up the stream. So what we'll do is we will grab this. We will enhance attack power. Confront memory, Divine Dragon. Remnant, Divine Dragon. The battle memory of an extraordinary foe. Although distant, recollection of such a memory provides sustenance for the wolf. The Divine Dragon of the Everblossom came from the west long ago, eventually making its way to this land. Some parts of Ashina are exceedingly old. Water coursing through her ancient rocks and soil allowed the dragon to take root. So that really ties into the fact that water really is the source of all life. And because of the corruption of the waters and the fact that the divine essence of the dragon was leaking into it, has caused a whole bunch of problems for Ashina since then. That's how there's the madness in Mibu Village. That's why you find other sections, like where the Guardian Ape in the Botta Vista Valley was corrupted as well, because the waters from Fountainhead find their way down there as well. It's all really, really quite interesting, and like I said, I'm probably going to explore it at some point. I'll do a lore video. It's all really, really interesting stuff. Alright, so we'll have a chat with Emma. We'll find out why she is distraught, and then I think we will transfer this over to wrap up the stream. Alright, so hello Emma. The secret passage key. So, if you remember correctly from the very first stream that I did, we used the secret passage to attempt to rescue Kuro at the start of the game. It just so happens in a nice cyclical fashion, a nice karmic fashion, that we are destined to return to the secret passage and the bridge that leads out of Ashina. So, secret passage key. The key to the secret passage that leads out of Ashina Castle. The secret passage can be found at the end of the moat in the Ashina Reservoir, not far from the Moonview Temple. Kuro has escaped the castle through this passage, and the wolf looks to join him there. So, it's kind of like poetry. You begin the game trapped in a prison not far from the Moonview Tower, which is where the game begins. It just so happens that for the first half of the game, or the first act of the game, it involves you working your way from the Ashina Reservoir all the way up to the castle to save him from Lord Genichiro. Then, as part of the story, you have to travel to the Gun Fort and the Sunken Valley and Mibu Village, and eventually ascend the entirety to get to Fountainhead Palace, which sits above everything. And then, upon achieving success at Fountainhead, you return to Ashina Castle, and now the game is saying, hey, you know how you started the game at Moonview Tower? You have to return there now. So the third act of the game is in reverse. So the first act of the game, you're heading up to the top of the castle. And then after that, by the third act, you are heading back to where the game began, which is really, really quite cool as a kind of a mirror of the story. And it gives us a destination. And when we step out of the castle, you will see the change as a war has erupted. The central forces of the ministry have begun a full-on siege, of the entire castle. Okay, so we now have a destination. Now, there's two things that you can do at this point. One, you can exit the castle and work your way down in reverse toward that moat. There is a second path that you can take. Well, not really, but there is something interesting you can learn at the dilapidated temple that you were taken to at the very start of the game, and I will visit there briefly because it does tell a bit of environmental storytelling. But if we head this way, one of the most cinematic sights of the entire game. The castle is under siege. The forces of the ministry have begun their attack. And as you can see, the path that we took up to the castle has now been taken over. The pathway that we have to travel, the nightjar smoke is telling us to head all the way down that way there. And you can see just where everything has happened. And there's actually a really, really cool thing that takes place in this particular sequence of the game. A lot of the enemies that were mini-bosses at the start of the game are now regular enemies. So the generals are regular enemies in the game. The ogres are regular enemies in the game. The nightjar assassins are regular enemies in the game. The long shadows, which were mini-bosses from the first act, suddenly become regular enemies from the second act onward. And now we've even got the ministry foes. And as you can see there, there's one with what's essentially a flamethrower. And you can see him spraying across there. I do particularly love this sequence because it shows that, yes, night has begun to fall, and I've pulled aggro from something. And over there you can see Ishin's castle. So what we'll do, Ishin's room, sorry. We'll head down there because I'm pretty sure there's an item you can pick up. Yes, there is. And it's just a regular pellet. So, what I'm going to do now is we're going to transport back to the dilapidated temple. I'm going to show you a bit of the environmental storytelling, and then we'll begin wrapping up the stream. So in a lot of ways, Sekiro, as much as it's about a story of the curse of immortality, it's also a story about change. And every character is affected by that change. There's a merchant over there, which I might spend some sen on in a minute. But if we go up here, the sculptor is gone. Where did he go? There's a very, very interesting story being told with this particular NPC as well. And his disappearance takes place as night falls. So what we'll do is inspect this. It basically gives us the ability to upgrade our equipment. And you do need to find where the pine resin is. I'll probably have to look it up at some point. So we'll have a chat with the merchant in a second. But if you look over here, you can see that the branch that would have taken us to the outskirts has now been destroyed by fire. And that gives us a hint of what's to come. So what we'll do is we'll have a chat with the merchant, and then we'll wrap up the stream. So let's just see if there's anything worth spending the sen on. So at this point in the game, you can actually load up with all of the different types of consumables. This guy, I believe, has infinite numbers of all of it. He's got basic resource materials, he's got all of that, and this is where the last gourd seed is. It turns out I had to buy it all along, which is kind of funny. So we'll pick this up, spend 2,000 sen for that. This guy is actually pretty useful if there's a couple of mini-bosses that you want to fight and you need Divine Confetti for. Divine Confetti is basically blessed paper that you cover your weapon with to defeat foes that exist supernaturally. So, supernatural enemies in the game include Orin, it includes the Shichiman warriors, it includes the Headless warriors, and I think there's one other one. I can't think of it off the top of my head though. But if we head over here, you have Hanbai, the Immortal. And I think the last thing I'll do for this particular stream is free him from his immortality. The other thing is, this is a collection box, the offering box. So this possesses any item that you might have forgotten to pick up over the course of the game. So items that become unavailable elsewhere end up in the offering box. When the box is illuminated, it means an item has found its way inside. Items can be obtained by inspecting the box and offering money. So basically this was a stopgap by FromSoft in order to assist players to make sure they didn't lose any items that you can't get access to or are locked by progression. And as you can see, it's given us two different options. One is a prayer bead, so clearly at some point I have forgotten to pick it up, or there was a mini-boss that I forgot to beat, or there was an item in a cave somewhere, or a chest. And the Phantom Kunai, again, I'm pretty sure that you picked that up in Hirata Estate, although my memory is a bit foggy on that. So basically it's a quick and easy way of making sure that you finish a playthrough and you have every item that you can possibly pick up, because the Phantom Kunai is actually important for upgrade materials. So I can't afford either of them. I only have 2100 sen. Super fun. So what we'll do is we'll free Hanbai. We will grab the gourd seed, get the last upgrade for that, and then we'll finish up. Oh, it turns out I haven't even spoken to this guy before. I got the whole playthrough without speaking to Hanbai. Okay, so we'll have a quick fight with this guy. Come on, buddy. So Hanbai is the tutorial guy. An immortal tutorial guy. So Hanbai is here to help teach you how to parry, how to deflect, how to avoid thrust attacks when you get Mikiri counter, how to avoid sweep attacks. Ideally, when you get to the dilapidated temple for the first time, you are meant to be drawn to the collection box and this mysterious character who is in the corner. And he teaches you the basics of the game. I realized that for this particular playthrough, I totally ignored him because I have and love playing this game. It's by and far one of my favorites of all time. So I kind of skipped over it all. And if we have a chat with him, we discover he's immortal, much like Sekiro. And part of the journey is to free him from his immortal coil. Both are true. It's a very clever way of introducing a tutorial mechanic that's not too on the nose. And story themed, which is even better. Okay, so he gives you training and you can talk to him. Yep, they certainly do. Now, I think you do have to go through some training in order to free him from the immortal coil. I might skip over this and start the next stream with it, but at first I want to go use this gourd seed before I forget. Not that I will forget, just make sure I don't. Alright, so I'll have a chat with Emma. Alright, we'll use the gourd seed. We'll have a chat with her about Ishin's final words. Haha. Yeah. So Ishin has a special pamphlet, essentially a book of skills, and you can only access those skills once you've mastered one of the core sets of skills that you begin the game with. But because in this particular playthrough the only real upgrade I got was Mikiri Counter, I haven't achieved getting that, which is part of the reason why my current level is 38. I have not spent any points on skills except for the Mikiri Counter, the grappling hook attack, and I'm pretty sure I purchased the anti-air death blow. So yeah. Alright, so with that, we are now done with this particular stream. Let me just do this because my stream deck is not working for some reason. Alright, well, I want to thank everybody for coming. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. I certainly had a lot of fun working my way through Fountainhead Palace and defeating the Divine Dragon in my first try. Eventually, one of the bosses in the game will give me enough grief that I will die multiple times, but apparently, for this particular playthrough, that's not going to happen yet. So, before I sign off, I want to remind you all to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to start trying to do that a bit more often to, be a bit more of a professional YouTuber, I guess. I'm going to have a link in my description below for my new podcast Instagram account, and hopefully a link to the Spotify link for that as well. I am planning on producing podcasts every week, time permitting, and having them launch on Saturdays. There will be a recorded video version of it on YouTube, which will eventually, when I finally learn how to do video editing properly, include clips of the topics I'm discussing. The last episode that I did was on Darth Jar Jar, super fun fan theory that I'm really interested in. The second one, the one that's coming up this Saturday, is my fan theory, and it's a controversial one at that Professor Snape is the greatest wizard of the wizarding world in Harry Potter. So I'm going to have a lot of fun exploring that idea. I will include, like I said, there'll be a link below for all of that. So expect that to drop on the Saturday. Yeah, so that's it. I'm going to go hit the gym. It's been a pleasure entertaining you all for the night. I hope you enjoyed my playthrough. Next Saturday, we should also see the end of this particular playthrough. We've got to work our way through the siege of Ashina Castle and ultimately get to Lord Kuro and the Lord Ishin fight at the very end. Spoilers, but again, the game is like 6 years old at least, so that's just the way it is. Yeah, and I really just want to devote an entire stream to the ending of the game the way that it should be experienced. I thought about running through an entire stream tonight where I didn't finish until the game was finished, but I think that wouldn't be a disservice to the storytelling and the lore explorations and all that sort of stuff. So, thank you all again, and we are now done. I'll hope to see you all on Saturday for the ending of this particular game before we move on to Stellar Blade next week. So, thank you all for coming. Bye. Oh, what's my new catchphrase? Stay shiny. And I'll see you next time.